Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 kill team video, where today I'm going over the updated rules for the Inquisitorial Agent's kill team. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Did you find it useful? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate link at Element Games, an affiliate link at Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But yeah, once again, I'm going over the updated Inquisitorial Agent's kill team review. This is, for fun fact, the second. I had to re-record it because I got too excited. But these are the free rules which you can find on Warhammer Community and on the Kill Team app. So let's get on with the review. So for your roster, you still have all archetypes. You can pick whatever you want, which is fine. Most kill teams are listed. Well, all kill teams have 2 archetypes. Inquisitorial agents are allowed 4. It's fine. So your leader is, well, you still get 7 base operatives. So you've got your leader, who's an interrogator. You've got a tome skull. Then you've got 5 other Inquisitorial agents you can take, which is the auto servant, quest keeper, Deathworld veteran, enlightener, hexicist, mystic, penal legionnaire, pistolier, gun servitor, who can either take a heavy bolter, multi-melter, and plasma cannon. Then, if you don't take any requisitioned units, you can take 5 more Inquisitorial Agent units. But if you do that, then you can take a second gun servitor, but it has to have different weapons. So otherwise unchanged there. Then you've got, for the faction rules, Inquisitorial Requisition. So requisitioned operatives can be taken from one of the following groups to supplement an Inquisitorial Agent kill team, as specified in the kill team selection rules. So you can either select Death Corps, Exaction Squad, Imperial Navy Breaches, Kazakin, Sister Silence, or Tempest of Scions, and then these operatives have their faction keyword replaced in all instances on their data card with the Inquisitorial Agent faction keyword, unless they already have it. You cannot use ploys and equipment associated with requisitioned operatives' former faction keyword, and you cannot use a requisitioned operatives' former faction rules unless specified on their kill team selection list. No, it only applies to those requisitioned operatives. Note that with their new faction keyword, requisitioned operatives can interact with other Inquisitorial Agent rules. So for example, if you take a Vox operator from the Death Corps, you can use its comms ability to give people +1 APL, but then you can't use the relay orders part because that's just a Death Corps faction, so otherwise unchanged. For your requisitioned Imperial Navy Breaches, you can now select 5 instead of 6. So you can take the Armsman, Axejack, Cat, Endurant, Geist Skull, Grenadier, Hatchcutter, Surveyor, Voidjammer, Gunner, and the Gunner can either have the Las Volley, Melter Gun, or Plasma Gun. The Geist Skull and Cat also count as half a selection each, and then other than the Armsman operative, you can only include each operative once, but you can only include the Cat if you take a Surveyor, and the Geist Skull if you take a Voidjammer. So it's more restrictive and balanced. And they still get to use the Void Armor rule that they have as Imperial Navy Breaches. You've got the Exaction Squad, who can take a Castigator, Chirurgant, Gunner with either Grenade Launcher, Heavy Stubber, Weber, Leashmaster, Malocator, Marksman, Revelatum, Cybermastiff, Subductor, Vigilant, and Vox Signifier. And then other than Subductor and Vigilant operatives, you can only select each operative once, and you can take up to 2 Subductors. Then for Death Corps, you can take the Bruiser, Confidant, Gunner with either Flamer, Grenade Launcher, Melter Gun, Plasma, Medic, Sapper, Sniper, Trooper, Veteran, Vox Operator, and Zealot. And then other than your Trooper, you can only have each operative once. And then for you, you can have no more than 3 of a combination of Gunners and Snipers. So you could have 2 Gunners and a Sniper, or 3 different Gunners. Then you've got the Kazakin. You can take 5 Kazakin. You can take the Combat Medic, the Demo Trooper, 4 different Gunners, the Recon Trooper, the Sharpshooter Trooper, and Vox Trooper. They have the same restriction as the Death Corps, where you can take effectively 2 Gunners. Only 2 Gunners though instead of 3, but your Sharpshooter counts as one of them. This is your best selection, by the way, because with this glorious selection, you can go the Plasma Pistolier, Multi-Melter Servitor, Plasma Gun, Melter Gun from the Kazakin, and also take the Melter Mine. And remember, all that Kazakin stuff is now hitting on freeze, which is fine. This is totally not fine. Okay, this is broken, right? It's very dumb. The funny thing is, this was a problem that the kill team had on launch back in 2nd edition, and then they've just ignored it. They've just removed that restriction of having like 1 plasma or melter gun. So that's fine. I'm sure that won't be a problem, but Kazakin are your best selection. Also because the Recon Trooper specifically works better in Inquisitorial Agents than it does in Kazakin, which is just bizarre. It was funny. We were in the Goonhammer chat. We were discussing like when we were doing our reviews, and we were like, none of this makes sense. Even like the Goonhammer people who are from 40k, they were like, this is really weird rules writing. Why does this Kazakin trooper specifically carry over its rules and a strategy ploy into Inquisitorial Agents? But regardless, then you can take 5 Tempest of Scions, which are, you can take 4 different Gunners, a Medic Trooper, and Vox Operator. You can only have up to 2 Gunners. These would be normally your pick because they're on 25mm bases and they hit on freeze now. but the Kazakin are just better because they get better operatives. And then you can select 5 Sisters of Silence in any combination of Prosecutors, Vigilators, and Witch Seekers. So those are all the same selections. The only thing that has actually changed is breaches have gone down from 6 to 5 selections. For strategy ploys, you have Denounce. Select 1 enemy operative and roll 1d3. In the firefight phase of this turning point, that enemy operative cannot be activated or perform actions until it's the last enemy operative to be activated, or your opponent has activated a number of enemy operatives equal to the result of the d3, whichever comes first. This ploy costs you 1 additional CP each the previous time you've used it during the battle, e.g. 1 CP the first time, then 2, then 3. This has actually been buffed. This used to be once per game because it was so powerful, but as a common trend you'll see with Inquisitorial Agents, they've for some reason decided to buff them more than they needed, so now this just works. Then you've got Intense Scrutiny. Whenever you're selecting a valid target for a friendly operative for enemy operatives within 4 inches, they cannot be in cover instead of the usual 2. While this makes them targetable, it doesn't negate their cover save unless you're within 2 inches. This is unchanged and is still very good. Then you've got Quarry. Select 1 enemy operative to be your quarry for the turning point. Whenever a friendly Inquisitorial Agent operative is shooting against, fighting, or retaliating against your quarry, that friendly operative's weapons have the Ceaseless Weapon rule. This, whenever your quarry is incapacitated, you can select a new enemy operative to be your quarry and carry on as normal throughout the turning point. This was buffed. This used to be balanced in terms of it used to give the balanced ploy. It wasn't balanced. Now it gives Ceaseless. This is very silly. It's fine. It's fine. Then you've got Irrefutable Jurisdiction. Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly Inquisitorial Agent operative that's within 3 inches of an objective marker, you can reroll 1 of your defense dice. If that friendly operative contests that marker, you can reroll any of your defense dice results of 1 result instead of just 1. So you could resolve 2 2s and stuff. It's okay, but considering how fragile your operatives are, I don't think you're going to use this one too much. Then for Firefight Ploys, you have Absolute Authority. It's unchanged and completely broken. So use this Firefight Ploy during the battle when an opponent uses a strategy or Firefight Ploy, excluding the command reroll or one that costs 0 CP. Their ploy isn't used and the CP spent on it is refunded, and they cannot use that ploy again during this turning point. This ploy cannot be used to stop the same ploy more than once per battle. So there is some counterplay around this now during turning point 1. If you really want a strategy ploy to work, you can make it 0 CP for turning point 1, and then Absolute Authority has no effect on it. But it's such a powerful ploy, I'm not really surprised they kept it, but it's just not good game design, considering there are factions who need key ploys to go off. Then you have Relentless in Pursuit. Use this Firefight ploy when an operative within 2 inches of a friendly operative performs an action which it moves. After it moves, that friendly operative can either perform a free reposition action but must end its move within 2 inches of that target, or a free charge action but must end within control range of that enemy operative. If neither is possible, that friendly operative cannot perform those actions and the CP on it is refunded. This is okay, but I'm not sure who would be running away from Inquisitorial Agents. They kind of fold like paper in combat, so I'm pretty sure people are going to just be running into you. It's a nice way to get specific combat support with some of your requisitioned units, but I'm not a fan of it. Then you've got the Emperor's Will. Use this Firefight ploy when a friendly Inquisitorial Agent operative is activated. Until the end of the activation, you can ignore any changes to its stats, including weapon stats. So for a CP, just ignore being injured and stuff, which is okay. Then you've got Intimidating Presence. Use this Firefight ploy when an enemy operative is visible and within 3 inches of the friendly Inquisitorial Agent operative, or visible and within 6 inches of a mystic, and performs a pickup marker or mission action excluding Operate Hatch. Your opponent must spend 1 additional action point for the enemy to perform that action. If they cannot or choose not to, the action point spent on it is refunded. So effectively you can kind of go, did you want to loot that point or capture that point? I'm afraid not, my good sir. It's, once again, a very situational Firefight ploy, but it's a nice tool to have. For Operatives, you have your Interrogator Agent, who has 2 APL, a 6-inch move, 5 up save, and 8 wounds. He has an extended stock relic auto pistol, which is 4 attacks, 8 on 3s, 2-4, range 12, lethal 5 up. Fists, which are 3 attacks, 8 on 4s, and 2-3. It has Inquisitorial Tome, so Strategic Gambit, and or when this operative is activated. Select one of the following Inquisitorial Tome rules for this operative to have, and for one friendly Tome Skull operative to have. They can be the same, and you ignore the rule that you didn't select for each operative. You've got Denunciation. Whenever a friendly Inquisitorial Agent operative is shooting against, fighting against, or retaliating against an enemy operative within 2 inches of the operative, add 1 to its attack stat. And then you've got Sanctification. When an operative is shooting against, or fighting against, or retaliating against a friendly operative within 2 inches of this operative, subtract 1 from the attack stat of enemy operative weapons. It's good, okay? Like, the thing is, before you used to choose, so you usually put denunciation on your leader and sanctification on the tome skull. Now you just put sanctification on both. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to do this, but there's very questionable decisions when it comes to how Inquisitorial agents were designed for this edition. It's very sus, but as an Inquisitorial agent player, it's very good because now you make your team even more obnoxious to try and be killed in combat and shooting. Then you've got the Tome Skull, who has 2 APL, 6-inch move, 5 up save, and 5 wounds. It has Consecrated Tome, so this operative can have an Inquisitorial Tome rule, see the Interrogator. No, it keeps that rule even if a friendly Interrogator operative is removed from the battle. The first time this operative is incapacitated during the battle, you can set it back up within control range of a friendly Interrogator operative and select an Inquisitorial Tome rule for it to have. If you do, it cannot itself have an Inquisitorial Tome rule for the rest of the battle, although it can continue to change this operative's one as normal. So effectively, your Interrogator can just pass it on to the Tome Skull. I don't know why it can resurrect now. It didn't used to be able to resurrect, but I'm very happy it can. It also has the expendable rule, so it's ignored for your opponent's kill op. So even if they do try and kill it, it's wasted because all it does is nothing. It's a machine. This operative cannot perform any actions other than charge, dash, fall back, and reposition. You cannot retaliate or assist in a fight. And whenever determining control of a marker, you treat its APL stat as 1. And whenever this operative is a conceal order, it has super conceal. It has group activation. So after you activate this, you activate your Interrogator. Or if you activate your Interrogator, you activate the Tome Skull. This is unchanged. This was already a good operative, and they've made it even better by giving it super conceal and the ability to resurrect. So excellent. Then you've got the Auto Savant Agent. He has a 4-up save. He has mechanical appendages, which are free attacks on 5s, 1, 2. It's a Scrivener. John Scrivens. Each subsequent time your opponent uses each ploy during the battle, excluding the command reroll, you gain 1 CP to a maximum of 2 CP per turning point. I feel this was nerfed. People weren't really taking the Auto Savant, and the fact it's capped at 2 CP, it's just not great. I wouldn't take it. You've got Irrefutable Report. Whenever this operative contests an objective marker, one of your mission marker, it always controls this marker. This takes precedence over all other rules. It's fine, but objective markers are smaller, so it will die a lot quicker. Then you've got Lightly Armed. This operative basically can't have equipment, weapons. It can only use what's on its profile. Then you've got the Quest Keeper, who has an auto pistol and an Eviscerator. The Eviscerator is 4 attacks, hit on 3s, 5-6 brutal. It used to hit on 4s. So the Eviscerator is effectively a power fist, kind of similar weapon. Does more damage, it's supposed to be harder to hit with. Every operative in the game, apart from 2, hit on these weapons on 4s. That even includes Space Marine Sergeants. Do you want to know who hits on 4 3s with these? It's the Space Marine Captain, the Orc Knob, but they only have 4 attacks and they're a leader, and the Striking Scorpion Exarch with a Scorpion Claw, but an Exarch who's been alive for hundreds of years. I don't know why the Quest Keeper gets +1 to hit. I'm hoping it's a print error and they've just accidentally, it should be hit on 3s. It should hit on 4s. We've accidentally made it hit on 3s. So Games Workshop, please errata this back to hit on 4s and I will forgive you. Then you've got Irrepressible Purpose. If this operative is incapacitated while fighting or retaliating, you can strike an enemy operative in that sequence as one of your unresolved successes before it's removed from the battle. This is unchanged. Then you've got Zealot. Whenever an attack dice inflicts 3 or more damage on this operative on a 5-up, -1 damage. This is just general changes. You always hate the Quest Keeper because they've made it even better. Then you've got the Death World Veteran, who has an auto pistol and knife, which is 1 attack hitting on 2s, 5-7 lethal 5-up. A polearm, which is 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 4-5. It's Hunter, so it can charge from conceal, and it's got weathered, so once per turning point when you're fighting or retaliating, you can ignore the damage inflicted from 1 normal success. This is all unchanged, and the Death World Agent is very good. Then you've got the Enlightener Agent, who has an auto pistol and then paired blades. The paired blades are 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3-5 balanced rending. Has no escape, so whenever an enemy operative performs the fallback action within control range, you can use this rule. Roll 1d6, subtracting 1 from that roll if the enemy operative has a higher wound stat than this operative, and adding 1 if that enemy operative is wounded. On a 4-up, they cannot fall back and their action points aren't refunded. And then you have Extract Information. Whenever an enemy operative is incapacitated within this operative's control range, you gain 1 command point. So the Enlightener has been buffed. Before, it used to just automatically permanently injure someone for the game. I think the agent is way better now. Probably way too overtuned because it's going to be balanced and ceaseless and rending when fighting. but otherwise it gives you a purpose to take it. And personally, I think you always take the agent, just because when you kill someone, you get another command point. The only problem is built from the same body as your interrogator, so you will need a second box, but I think the Enlightener is very good. Then you've got the Gun Servitor, who is 1 APL, 5-inch move, 4 up save and 11 wounds. Has a Heavy Bolter, which is 5 attacks on force, 4-5, heavy dash only, piercing crits 1. A Sweeping Profile, which is 4 attacks on force, 4-5, heavy dash, piercing crits 1, torrent 1. Then you've got a Multi-Melter, which is 4 attacks on force, 6-3, dev 4, heavy dash, piercing 2. Then you've got the Plasma Cannon, which is 4 attacks on force, 4-6, blast 2, heavy dash only, piercing 1. And Supercharged, which is 4 attacks on force, 5-6, blast 2, heavy dash only, hot, lethal 5-up, piercing 1. And a Servo Claw, which is 3 attacks on force, 4-5. It's lobotomized, so whenever this operative is activated, if it's visible and within 3 inches of another friendly operative, excluding the Gun Servitor or vice versa, they add 1 to its APL stat until the end of that activation. Gun Servitor is unchanged. Personally, for the lobotomized, I would router it so the Tome Skull doesn't benefit and buff it. Otherwise, it's really good. You just always take the Multi-Melter because it's not worth using the plasma cannon. Then you've got your Hex Assist, who has a shotgun, which is 4 attacks on freeze, 3-3, range 6, and fists, which are 3 attacks on force, 2-3. It's got Hexercise. Whenever an enemy operative is visible and within 6 of this operative, your opponent cannot reroll their attack or defense dice. And then you've got Chasten for 1 action point. Select 1 enemy operative that's a valid target for this operative within 6. Then select 1 additional rule, including a unique action that enemy operative has on its data card, excluding a weapon rule. Until the end of that enemy operative's activation, it's treated as not having that rule, so that's fine, unchanged. Otherwise, a usual interesting tech piece into stuff like Felgor. Then you've got the Mystic Agent, who has an auto pistol, which is 4 attacks in on 2s, 2-3, range 8, seek. And then Fists. It's an icon bearer, so it has +1 for objectives, not being a modifier. Lightly armored, so it can't use any additional equipment. It's got Scry as a psychic action for 1 action point. You select a friendly operative within 6, and this lasts until the start of that operative's next activation, or until it's incapacitated until you perform this action again. So you've got Guidance, so whenever that friendly operative is shooting, or fighting, or retaliating, they can turn a miss into a normal, or normal into a crit. And then you've got Protection as a psychic action. Whenever that friendly operative is rolling a defense dice, they can turn a fail into a normal, or normal into crit success. This is unchanged and usually really good on stuff like your hot weapons and like your servitor. So you're always taking the Mystic Agent, and it always has ways to like strip stuff with Seek. Then you've got the Penal Legionnaire, who has a Hand Flamer, which is 4 attacks in on 2s, 3-3, range 6, saturate, torrent 1, and a Chainsword, which is 4 attacks in on 4s, 4-5. It's got the Chem Mask, so you can ignore any changes to the operative's APL stat and from being injured, and you aren't affected by shock and stun. Then you've got Crawl. Whenever this operative is shooting or fighting against or retaliating against a wounded enemy operative, you gain Relentless. So completely unchanged and very, very useful, especially with stuff like crack grenades. Then you've got your Pistolier, who has a scoped plasma pistol, which is 4 attacks in on freeze, 3-5, range 12, piercing 1. The Supercharged mode, which is 4 attacks in on freeze, 4-5, range 12, hot, lethal 5-up, piercing 1. Then the Suppressed Auto Pistol, which is 4 attacks in on freeze, 2-3, range 8, silent. And then Fists. You've got Pistolier, you can ignore any modifiers as operative's hit stat. Then you've got Pistol Barrage. Perform the free shoot action with this operative, 2 free shoot actions, and it takes precedence of all other restrictions. You must select the pistol profile for both of these weapons, and then you can shoot them in any order. And you can't do while you have a conceal order. The weird thing is you can do this in engagement range, in control range, and of the current wording, you can fire the plasma pistol, then do pistol barrage to fire again, but that's not going to last, so don't be surprised. Otherwise, the Pistolier did get a bit nerfed. The scoped range used to be unlimited, now it's just 12, but otherwise it's fine. For your Sisters of Silence, they all have 2 APL, 6-inch move, 3 up save and 8 wounds. Your Prosecutors have bolt guns, which are 4 attacks in on freeze, 3-4, and then the gun butt, which is 4 attacks in on force, 2-3. They're psychic nulls, so psychic range weapons cannot inflict damage on this operative. For the effects of psychic actions, this operative cannot be selected and is never treated as being within those actions required distances. Whenever an operative is within 6 inches of this operative, they cannot perform psychic actions or use psychic additional rules. They cannot use psychic range weapons, and psychic melee weapons cannot have damage stats higher than 3-4. So quite a comprehensive way to be nerfing psychic stuff. Then you've got the Vigilator, who has an Executioner Great Blade, which is 4 attacks in on freeze, 4-6, lethal 5-up. These are your best because they're 5 power weapons. Well, 5 of them with power weapons, only 4 attacks, but still great. Then you've got the Witch Seekers, who all have Flamers, who are 4 attacks in on 2s, 3-3, range 8, saturate, torrent 2. They're okay. Maybe take 1 or 2 on Galadark if you're running Sisters, but generally you just get a lot more out of just running 5 Sisters with power weapons. For your Tempest, Scion, Vox Operator, they all have 2 APL, 6-inch move, 4 up save, 8 wounds. They have a Hotshot Lasgun, which hits on 4 attacks hit on 3s, 3-4, and Gun Belt, which is 3 attacks hit on 4s, 2-3. He's your comms. He can do this operative action twice, so he can give 2 different operatives plus 1 APL. Then you've got the Gunner, who can take the Flamer, Grenade Launcher, Hotshot Volley Gun, Melter Gun, Plasma Gun, or Gun Bot. It's okay, like you can take up to 2 of these, and if you were, you would take the Melter Gun and Plasma Gun, but you're not, because you're taking Kazakin. Then you've got the Medic, who works exactly like a Medic, has a Hotshot Lasgun and Gun Butt, so can resurrect someone from dying at -1 APL, and then heal someone else for 2d3, your standard Medic. Then you've got your Scion Trooper as a Hotshot Lasgun and Gun Butt. It has adaptive equipment, so you can do each of the following once per turning point. One friendly Trooper can do the Smoke Grenade action, and one can do the Stun Grenade action. They don't count towards your usage and are free, which is nice, but once again, you're taking Kazakin. For faction equipment, you've got the Inquisitorial Rosette. So once per battle, when a friendly Inquisitorial Agent is activated, if you've used the Quarry strategy ploy during this turning point, you can use this rule and you can select a new target for your Quarry. This is okay, but I wouldn't take it. You should be picking the correct target, and I think this is just bad. Just play better. Then you've got Armored Bodysuits. Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly operative that has the 5-up save stat, you can retain one of your dice results as a 4-up instead. So this is okay, just give someone a singular 4-up save. Then you've got Combat Daggers. Friendly Inquisitorial Agent operatives have the following melee weapons. Sister Silence, get +1 attack. So it's 3 attacks in on 4s, 3-4. And then you've got the Servo Skull. So once per turning point, when a friendly operative can perform a mission action for 1 AP less. This is very good because it goes on every operative. Like, you're not just limited to one. So you can do it on any operative every turning point. So very, very good. Like, you're always taking the Servo Skull, probably the Combat Daggers, maybe the Armored Bodysuits, but probably just crack grenades as well. So for Operative Selection, you need 2 boxes of Inquisitor Agents for all your purposes, because you have to. If you're building them from one box, you go obviously the Interrogator, the Servo Skull, then you take the Quest Keeper, the Pistolier, the Gun Servitor with a multi-melter, and then the Mystic. And then usually I kind of like taking the Death World Veteran. You could probably take maybe another operative. You have to remember, if you're building from one box, each one can only be built once, but that's a solid choice. Then you're probably taking 5 Kazakin, as I said, with 1 Melter Gun, Plasma Gun, and Medic, the Recon Trooper, and then the Melter Mine, because why not? That's like literally the best choice. You can also, I would also recommend taking Exaction Squad, because 2 Subductors, and then the rest are quite good into like larger Horde teams, which you'll mainly struggle into. And you probably want Breachers as well, just in case. And maybe you want some Veteran Guardsmen, which would be, well, you Def Corps, which would boost you up to 12 activations if you wanted to. So effectively, I'm telling you, you need to bring a suitcase, because that's what most Inquisitorial Agent players need. It's a very expensive team and wide team to play. And the worst thing is, if you play one of those factions and you want to win or do better, just play them Inquisitorial Agents, unfortunately. So for the Inquisitorial Agents overview, this team is broken. Like, obviously, elites are very strong, and I'm not saying elites are weak. Elites are very strong because they have very strong rules. They are all 14 wounds, and the game is mechanically designed around them. There's only 3 objectives on every mission, and Counteract is just better. It doesn't -1 your ballistic skill. You can do any one action. It's very, very powerful in the hands of an elites. The problem with the Inquisitorial Agents, they used to have a limit, so you could only take 1 Plasma or Melter Gun. Now that limit is gone, so you can take 2 Plasmas and 2 Melters and a Melter Mine. And this was a big problem when the Kill Team launched back in 2nd edition. It was so problematic they had to hit it first, because this Kill Team was just shooting people off the board. Then they also buff the Quest Keeper, so it hits on freeze. The leader now can both take the -1 to hit effect. And remember, this works at any range. It just works on friendly operatives within 2 inches of the leader and the Tome Skull. The Tome Skull also has Super Conceal and now can come back to life, which is fine. And they can still select any archetype, which no other team can do. I understand they wanted to make this Kill Team flexible, but I think they're pushing at it when they make one of the Kazakin operatives, the Recon Trooper, specifically work better in Inquisitorial Agents than in Kazakin. In my opinion, that's very bad game design. And as I said, when I was talking about with the Kazakin, even when we're doing the Goonhammer round table discussing our reviews, we all kind of went, this is just really strange, because you wouldn't even get that in 40k. So when 40k is taking a more balanced take than you are in Kill Team, I think that's not a good sign. And my problem is I really wanted to play Corsairs. I think Corsairs actually have a good chance into Elites. And then I looked at Inquisitorial Agents and I was like, I can't beat them. I might be able to beat them on Gallodark and maybe Beta Decima, but on all other kill zones, I lose. And even on the kill zones I'm advantageous on, I lose most likely as well. Because you've still got Absolute Authority. Quarry is buffed because it now just gives Ceaseless. And now they can stop someone every turning point if they wanted to, even though it would eat into their CP. So they're really good at destroying elites. They're really good at destroying the entire meta. The only teams they're really weak to are technically Warp Coven and Legionary, and those can't push up turning point 2 against this kill team. And then like Angels of Death probably can have a good chance if they just run at them, as well as Nemesis Claw. Felgor are probably a bad matchup for this kill team. But if it's a really dense, like sparse shooting board, then Inquisitorial Agents will just shoot everyone off the board. And it's not really fun. I think my main problem is just it's really unfun and they're repeating the errors they made in the last edition. These changes were proven to be incredibly problematic. So it feels like when they were designing this kill team for 3rd edition, they either didn't care or knew of it and thought it would just be fine and that people would adapt. But these are really big problems that we've historically known are a problem. They were a huge problem when this kill team dropped. And it's really weird when you look at like Chaos Cult, who were a very toxic kill team who have been hit quite hard. Same with Pathfinders. Hierotech Circle have been toned down. Even Exaction Squad with their anti-reroll bubbles have been stopped. Even Halfkin Salvagers, they've lost their ability to stop people making, you know, one of their scouting options, like forward deploying and moving before turning point 1. So it's very weird. It's very weird. They took a unpopular team in terms of like reception. Everyone generally has a negative experience with this kill team and connotations, and they just made it better, which is very mixed messaging considering we've seen a lot of kill teams who are in a similar position last edition have been nerfed and toned down quite heavily. So it's very confusing. And then the other faction is every other faction that makes part of Inquisitorial Agents is just better Inquisitorial Agents. It feels like Games Workshop wants you to invest in Inquisitorial Agents because then it makes you buy 2 different factions, if I was being incredibly cynical. Because it's like, yeah, your Deathcore are a lot worse if you run them in Deathcore, but have you thought about running them in Inquisition? Your Kazakin, yeah, you know, they're fun, but have you thought about running them in Inquisition? Your Exaction Squad, they're a lot more honest, they're a little bit fairer, but, you know, you wanted Plasma and Melter? Have you thought about running them in Inquisition? So it's very, very weird. It's just bizarre. It's questionable game design at best. It's just really worrying. And, you know, because I would go like you would have like the elite teams and then Inquisitorial Agents because they beat everyone else. So it's just going to have a really, really weird team. And the problem is, if you don't realize the combinations, you're going to go, oh, they don't seem that powerful. And then you play someone who knows how to use them and they will stop you playing the game. They're that powerful. It is just questionable from so many levels. But that's pretty much it for me today. I still think Inquisitorial Agents are one of the best kill teams in the game. Like, they're still very, very good. They've definitely been way overtuned and they're super strong. But please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know if you agree with my statements. What do you think of Inquisitorial Agents and how great they are for the new edition of Kill Team? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, an affiliate link at Amazon Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support, as well as a affiliate link at Firestorm Games. And I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crit, I have Zombie Businessman, Tom, Supercow, Sam, Stephen, Nick, Mercenary Q, Mr. Meatwad, Lucas, John Thomas, Graham, Fangzu, Draken, Dave Meatsworld, Darcy, Dad of Goldens, Chris, and then for my veterans of the crit, I have Samja, Ryan, and Mark. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. So yeah, that's my Ashes of Faith day done. Woo, so much fun. I did genuinely re-record this video because I recorded the night before and I got so angry and upset. Like, it was going to be a comedy video and I thought, no, it's better if I just play it straight and properly, because otherwise it just looks ridiculous. It would have been on the same level as my Felgor video. I literally had a 10-minute rant at the end, and I don't think anyone needs to see that. But remember, no matter what happens to Inquisitorial Agents, maybe Games Workshop will tone them down, but you always have a chance to beat them as long as you can roll a crit.